Nope.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're back at it with another Prfffflmp, and
Got
I am
it.
one of your hosts, Trevor Smith. The other host is currently missing, but he is.
Wait, am I missing?
Well, there
Is
you go.
my
You're
camera
back.
on?
Your camera was
Oh,
off.
hey.
It
Oh,
is
that's weird.
the,
Sam.
the one and only Sam Maddox, and we have a very special guest this week. The self-proclaimed the beater of 10 billion lions, 1 billion lions. That seems like that didn't happen, but he also has claimed to never listen to a single episode of this podcast.
I
So
don't
that's
believe it.
pretty cool. This will be his first episode he's heard live in person. It is the one and only Jacob McClellan.
Jacob, how are you, sir?
Hey gang, I'm all
Yo,
right. I'm happy to be a part of this momentous podcast that
Yeah.
just y'all are doing the work. Y'all are making the
You,
podcast great again. So thank you
you know,
for
you
that.
could, yeah, thanks. You could say that this is like the fruit of your labor. You were the one that
Mhm.
started the podcast. So
This is
we are,
fruit straight from
this
your
is,
labor,
yeah, this is your seed.
your laborious fruits.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
my loin.
Are
Yes,
you
that's
proud? Are you
what
proud of what you have started with the podcast?
with your loin fruit.
I am excited for the podcast to be heading back in a good direction.
We'll take that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and remember how to share my screen because that is a new journey every week. There we are. We've found the button, and now we're crack-a-lacking. So this is where we're at. All right. It is week 12. We just finished week 11, and we have some very interesting matchups to go over. Uh, I don't think there was anything that stood out as I don't think we had any big upsets this week, unfortunately. Um, no, we had one upset.
One, yeah.
One
At least
upset.
as far as the standings go.
Yeah, yeah, but nothing, no huge shifts in movement, right? If we want to take a quick peek here, right? We still have Do It for Darmus. At first with a tie with Sam Maddox, the Steagles. They're looking at tiebreaker for points four, so Levi still has it.
Mhm.
And we've got the Furries, the Dub Squad, the Egg, myself, the Philly Phobia, the Prostate Podcasters, Zach on his couch, the Plute Ballers, the Numb Ballers, the Wizards of the Coast, and then the Stoppable Force. So, uh, coming up at the matchups here, where do you want to start off here, Sam?
You know what? Why don't we start with our good buddy Jacob and the
Jacob
stop
McClellan.
force.
The Stoppable
Um,
Force and Zach's couch.
so for most of the year, Jacob, we've been, you said you haven't been listening to the podcast. We've been calling your team the stoppable force because let's face it, your team has not been very good this year.
They've been
You're
rather
in last,
stoppable.
yeah, you're
What
in
what
last.
is my ranking?
You're in
What
last
is
place.
You're in last place, 12 out of 12.
Mm-hmm.
huh?
If there was a 13th team, you'd be 13 out of 13.
That's
Hmm.
correct.
But yeah, so not a good year for you so far. So we've been calling for you to change your name to the Stoppable Force.
That's correct.
Um, but
We've also been calling for you to start all of your players that you could. Um,
yeah, that's another thing
but
that you've been missing out on.
neither of those
However,
things happened. So,
we gotta give him his credit though. He
right.
did come with a big victory this week.
Mm-hmm. A huge dub. I mean, realistically, you're one. Um, I believe you're one win away from being tied for maybe even like 11th or something like that. So you could make a run. You
I
certainly
can
could.
make a run.
That's
Yep.
right. So
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to say about it. You got to give it to the opposing team. Like, they're working hard. We got out hustled.
no, you won this one.
You won. You won this
Really,
week.
really, the game is just all about yardage.
No, you won this one.
Um, oh,
Jacob,
okay,
No, Jacob, you won this one.
okay.
Jacob, Jacob, you
hey
won.
Jacob, you won this week. I know it
Okay,
doesn't happen a
so
lot. But you
so my
won.
team's good.
Yeah,
Jacob, you
so
won this week.
did you write your winner's speech for this week?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But
I
here,
mean, I get it.
here we go. Yeah, we're looking good out there. We're finding those zones. We're finding the pockets. All of our guys, everybody's in there. Everybody's playing their role, doing their part. We're icing those knees. We're getting those yards. And, it's not all about how many yards, it's how many you can do in what amount of time. Because if you think about it, it's really, you want to have 4 downs every time you are in possession of the ball.
Well, maybe
that what they don't teach you in school. This is something you can only know if you're this is something you
that's
can
an
only
interesting
know
take. So anyways,
if you
if
are
we want to move on
practiced
here.
in the game, is that the longer you have the ball, the less opportunity there is for the other team to score. So really what you want to do is you want to use all 4 downs to go 10 yards and do that the entire way. Then the other team can't score. And I mean, I don't need to tell you about the meta of the game. It's
Sure
all
don't.
about icing your knee, icing your legs, icing your back. I mean, we were all there in the league, in 75 when there was this new meta for the game was created. It was all about the ice to knee ratio.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, I
don't have to be
learning.
This won't make.
So, anyways, I just muted Jacob. He's still talking. So we can talk about his team here a little bit.
I let me say I see why Jacob's team is in last place.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty clear from what's going on. So he clearly didn't start Marvin Harrison Jr. I'd like to get some insight on that, but I'm pretty sure that he's still giving his speech, talking about 75 when he was nice.
See if he's still going.
Should I unmute him for a sec?
Yeah, just to see if he's still going.
Are you still going? Oh, I have to ask to unmute? I don't know how that works.
Oh, this is great.
See, and the thing is that whenever it became.
Yep. Okay. So he is still going. So, anyways, we've got Sam Darnold here. An interesting week. He did pretty well. He threw like 1 or 2 interceptions this week. Was that right? Am I crazy?
No, he didn't have any interceptions.
No picks this week. So good week from Sam Darnold. That was pretty nice. Gabe Wilson starting Marvin Harrison Jr. was an interesting decision because nobody was there. Ezekiel Elliott stinks, as we all know. Goddard had an okay week. Really, it came down to Joe Mixon pulling his weight. Now, Sam, you're a Joe Mixon expert here. What can you tell us about Joe Mixon?
Yeah, so Joe Mixon's having a really good year. I think the scheme in Houston is a little bit better.
And so there were financial
for him. Yeah, I think the scheme in Houston's a little bit better than it was in Cincinnati. There are some statistics out there that shows that Cincinnati's technically a better rushing team than Houston this year, which is a little weird. But Joe Mixon has always been a great running back. I think he was hindered a little bit in Cincinnati, just with the O-line play. But Mixon has been a really good running back.
And I mean, those knees were being iced.
A really good opportunity to show what he's got this year. 10 rushing touchdowns, almost 1,000 total yards.
Yeah.
So he's having a huge year.
Yeah, he really is. Realistically, when you look that there were 3 running backs on free agency, like the 3 big names are Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Saquon Barkley. And of the 3, right, Saquon and Derrick Henry were the names, and then Joe Mixon was a guy, right? I mean, no one was really coming after Joe Mixon in the offseason.
Right.
And so for him to be performing, granted, he is not on the same level as Saquon or Derrick Henry. He is not far off of Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, though, with the year that he's having. I mean, Dallas really dropped the ball. If they didn't want to pay Saquon or pay Derrick Henry, they certainly could have got a discount on Joe Mixon,
Yeah. Mixon, forgot about. He missed 3 weeks with an injury. Got injured in week 2.
Yeah.
And ever since he's been back, he's been having great games.
He's been great.
It's just team that he's been hindered by the rest of the team of the unstoppable force.
That's true. Let's see here.
Tough week for Zach.
Yeah, tough. I mean, everyone was a dud, right? Across the board.
I mean, it really comes down to which.
Now, I don't know what to say here, right? Pittsburgh defense did what they do. They actually pulled out a dub, which is pretty cool for them. ETN, at this point, what do we do with ETN? Do you know what we're supposed to do with Travis Etienne?
I'm not really sure. I mean, you probably bench him for Eckler.
I mean,
That's
probably
my
like he had his first 3 weeks, they were okay. And beyond that, he has been just awful, right? I
yeah.
mean, especially from an a supposed RB1, you just can't be having weeks like this from you. Um,
Right.
You'd hate to. I mean, no one would have probably projected Ramondre Stevenson to be outperforming Travis Etienne at the start of the season, especially by the margin that he has, right? I mean,
Cool.
Ramondre Stevenson probably was a bit of a sleeper pick. He's ranked 57th overall, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
where he went in the draft, but I mean, he went pretty late, yeah, 67th. He's a sixth round pick. Like, good gracious.
Yeah.
You compare that to Travis Etienne, who went third round. Like pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, tough week there. Justin Tucker's currently going through some kicking woes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Yeah.
tough as a
Terry,
kicker.
Terry McLaurin and Bijan Robinson didn't have their normal weeks this week.
Yep.
Neither did Lamar Jackson. So I think those
Yep.
are Zach's best 3 players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he just had a rough week.
Certainly. Then you look at the bench. I mean, definitely some points here left on the bench for both players. But I don't think there was anything incredibly impactful, right? I mean, Jacob could have easily started Lad McConkey instead of Marvin Harrison Jr., put up another 15, one by 30, So
Yeah.
that's
Jacob,
tough.
do you have any trash talk that you want to give to Zach?
I went to
Trevor?
unmute.
So, like, I mean, it really
Any
just
trash
does come
talk you'd
down to
like?
which team has access.
I guess not. So we'll just move on then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's the stoppable force there.
Hey, hey, Jacob, could you not? Can you unmute him, Trevor?
Well, I have to keep asking to unmute him, but then he just keeps on with his bit.
It's a
Yeah, I
good
think that.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you have we are pressed for time here on the PRFF
Well, see, if
FFLMP.
you would just let me make this point here real quick, that it's all
Anyways, so
Yeah.
I guess no trash talk for Jacob. We'll just go ahead and move right on then. So next on the docket, you want to do the dub squad and the plute balls?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get some balls
Okay.
knocked out.
Knocking out some balls. So Matt's team has been coming back with a vengeance, right? I
Mhm.
mean, he had a rough first couple weeks. And then, I mean, he has been on fire since then, right? Puka's been great since he's been back.
Mhm.
Achan's been great
love Puka.
since Tua's been back. Tyreek Hill
Tyreek
Tua.
Hill,
started
yeah.
picking it up a bit. And
Picking it
then
Jameson
up.
Williams with another big game.
Big
Jamison
game.
Williams is a little bit inconsistent. He has his problems off the field. However,
Yeah.
when he's on the field, he's a
Inconsistent.
playmaker, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I think he had 4 catches,
That's what I'm saying.
124 yards,
Playmaker.
and a touchdown.
Mhm.
JMO's
Yeah.
pretty good. And then Jaden Daniels, his last several weeks have been a little lackluster, I guess the last 2 weeks, but
Lackluster.
he's
Yeah.
still been quite good.
Yeah. So Jacob, what do you like? And in a few words, what do you like about Matt's team this week?
Well, they're doing their role. And that's just who won this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to look at the screen and figure it out yourself.
Matt,
It
Matt
it
won this week.
just okay, yeah. Well, see, they're all what it comes down to is that the team's just got a great work ethic. You got a lot of team players out there. They're giving it 110%, and whenever they step on that field, they came to play, and it all comes down to icing their knees. And
So, anyways, let's take a look here at Josiah's team. Honestly, his team had a good week, right? That's a very
Mhm.
respectable week from Josiah.
it's respectable.
Bo Nix coming in here, right? I mean, he's looked good, right? He's actually been a
He's been
sustain like
great.
a real
He's look,
fantasy football
he's
quarterback.
looking really good.
Some people, I'm not saying me, but I'm saying some people are calling him Bo Namath.
Yeah, yeah. Did anyone see? Did you see the video, the I Believe video that a YouTuber made? He's a
No,
Denver
I did
Yeah,
Broncos
not.
fan.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send that to the chat just so everyone can watch it. It's pretty good. Um, Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously pulling his weight. It's a little tough seeing
Pulling
Amon-Ra
his weight.
versus Jamal Williams because they're both putting up monster numbers, right?
Mhm.
Monster numbers, big numbers, monsters
You,
with scary teeth,
yeah,
monsters that hide under your bed. monsters with glowing eyes,
Yeah. So anyway,
monsters from the
pretty
movie
pretty
Halloween
good
Town,
week from a lot of his guys.
monsters
Yeah.
that attack cities.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall had that really good week last week, and this
Yeah.
week he looked more like a guy that got shot in the chest.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Tough week from Zay White. I don't know that
So yeah, so I do gotta say something about Josiah. So
yeah.
a lot of you guys probably know Josiah made a little bit of a weird decision by
Oopsie. He made an oopsie.
dropped Sam Laporta because he was hurt, and he told me, well, anytime I have a guy that's hurt, I drop him. And I'm sitting here like, Josiah, you've got Rashid Shaheed on your team, who's been hurt out for the season for like 4 or 5 weeks now.
Right.
So, I went in there, used my commissioner power to put Laporta back on his team, and I was laughing. I was like, "Come on, man! Like you're not gonna drop Laporta and keep Will Dissly as your tight end for the rest of the season." But look at Will Dissly; he had
Dissly popped
16
off.
points.
Yeah,
he did pop off. He had a huge game against the I don't know what team that CIN. I'm not sure who it is, but
yeah. Tough to now.
Yeah, huge week.
Yeah. When Laporta was just out this week, I think realistically they were just kind of resting because they knew they would beat they'd beat the Jags by about 45 points, and they didn't really need him for it. So
Jacob, when you hear the name Sam Laporta, does it make you think of me in a porta potty?
He did great this week.
All right. Well, that's the insight from Jacob. So moving on here to the next one. Let's hit up the furries and the prostate podcasters.
Oh, this is a great one.
This was the upset of the week, really, the premier upset. Andrew taking an L to his prostate.
Yeah.
L.
Now,
so Jacob, if you're not aware, since you obviously haven't listened to the podcast, Trevor accidentally called the procrastinating podcasters the prostate podcasters.
Yeah.
So that's just what the name is.
So that's what the name's been since I said it that one time.
How's your prostate doing, Jacob?
Is it podcasting?
Well, really, it comes down to just icing it and making sure that.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell me how you ice your prostate?
What's that movie? No, that's not appropriate.
There's a movie about it. Oh god.
There's a movie where
can you send the video to me? Is it a home movie?
They say a dude's like dying of heat stroke, so the best way to like cool him down is they pull out a popsicle that's about that long and that thick.
Mute him.
Anyways, so
yeah.
Week 11 of telling Andrew to drop Patrick Mahomes, he still won't do it because he's a coward. Look at absolutely punished. Not playing Matthew Stafford, top 10 quarterback, Hall of Fame.
What are you doing, Andrew?
That's on Andrew.
Patrick Mahomes isn't in the Hall of Fame. Well, I guess Stafford.
What are you doing, Andrew?
Yeah.
Here's a bold statement. Matthew Stafford will be in the Hall of Fame before Patrick Mahomes.
I think that's a true statement.
Yeah.
I think that really is a true statement. Tough thing here with Andrew's team is he's got a little bit riding on Chicago's offense. He's got Cole Kmet, he's got Keenan Allen, and neither of them are startable, right?
Well, Cole Kmet's been pretty startable for most of the year, but when you got George Kittle over there, you're going to start Kittle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Andrew, he started him when he didn't play.
Yeah, that's tough. To be fair, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, he just got blown up, right? Kittle didn't do anything.
You got to start Kittle.
Raheem Mostert didn't really do anything.
But he did less. He did less than didn't do anything.
Less than nothing. Yeah, I scored more fantasy football points this week than Raheem Mostert did.
So did George Kittle.
So did George Kittle. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You got to start Kittle.
To take a goose egg and not be the worst player on your team, that's a little bit tough. Saquon Barkley doing Saquon Barkley things, obviously. And then
great year.
Cooper Kupp things. Yeah, what do you think here, Jacob? Do you have anything to say?
I mean,
guess Jacob doesn't have anything to say. So, anyways,
I do have another question for Jacob if he actually wants to answer this one.
Yeah, we'll see.
So So over on the Prostate Podcasters, you got a guy named Josh Jacobs. Are you aware that you traded that guy to the Prostate Podcasters?
I believe that was during the incursion of isn't this just so fun? Merry Christmas, gang.
Yeah,
There were I
that
can
was
be
on
furry.
NHL opening day.
Yeah, on the opening day of NHL, the greatest holiday that I have started celebrating. Um, I believe this is so fun. All right, I believe that I tried to do that with somebody else, but the government said that I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
So
that's why they voted
they
for Trump.
got mad and basically blocked it from happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why Trump got elected because Biden blocked that from happening. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but no, yeah, good, really good week from Andrew. Just that Mostert and Kittle really hurt him.
Gotta
Mahomes
start
did
Kittle.
great. You got to start Kittle. Really great week from the Prostates. Mark Andrews didn't have a great week, but I think he's still ride with him.
They'll ride out the Mark Andrews train.
Yeah, Cody did not start the right quarterback this week. Justin Herbert looked really good against the Bengals in the first half. I think he probably got most of his points from the first half.
Yeah, that's fair.
He didn't really do much after that, but
Yeah, not much.
yeah.
You gotta think
Josh
that's because he
Jacobs-
didn't ice his knee before the game. Like there's not enough ice being used
Yeah.
out there.
Josh Jacobs had a great week.
did.
Cook, Hall, really good week from his running backs.
Yeah.
So it's always good to
week
get
from the Prostates.
You know, they say you come for the king, you best not miss. And
That's right.
the Prostate Podcasters did not miss.
They also say after a certain number of birthdays, you got to get your prostate checked. And I don't know if Andrew got his prostate checked. So, yeah.
No,
Who's
but
the oldest in our
prostate check
group?
Mitchell.
Is Mitchell older than me?
How old are you, Trevor?
I turned 31 in like 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
I turned 31 back in July and still turned 31 back in March.
Okay.
Trevor,
Yeah,
what
so
was the first wheel like?
first wheel? It was
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Trevor, what was
I think
the
I was in
first?
I was in a video about it. It was one of the Levi was the one making it, remember?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Dude, Josiah did so good on that film.
He did. So,
That was
anyways,
amazing.
moving on to the next one here. We got the numb ballers and the eggs.
One last thing on Cody. Cody has won 4 straight, so watch out for the Prostate Podcasters.
Watch out for your prostate. It's coming for you. Where
we going next? The Numballers?
The Numballers and the eggs. If Paul ever starts, oh wait, he did start T Higgins. Man, Paul is ride or die with T Higgins. Look at that.
Worked out for him this week.
Yeah. Tough starting Harrison Butker when he's injured. Also Malik Neighbors, who's not in.
It wouldn't have mattered too much for him, unfortunately. Well, no.
Well, he lost by 15, right? 16?
Because about 15 or 16.
If he puts T. Higgins here and then he starts Brian Thomas, right? That's 11.
And then he just
any kicker that gets him 6 points wins him the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does come down to like 6 points to win the game.
That's tough, but alas, I like seeing, him sticking out, right? David Montgomery had a great week. Jamar Chase had a great week. Josh Allen had a great week.
Great week for Josh Allen.
Great week. Denver's defense went crazy. Kirk Cousins looked completely inept against that defense. And then coming over here to, Aaron's team.
You could say that defense was moving.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nobody beats Goff. Am I right?
Nobody. Right.
Nobody beats Goff.
Nobody beats Goff. I'm going to get it tattooed.
Yeah.
Nobody beats Goff.
I mean, this is an impressive stat line, right? 412 yards, 4 touchdowns,
412
yards.
4.
In case anyone cares, his passer rating was 158.3. He had a perfect passer rating for this game.
That's good.
And he got yanked pretty early into the 4th, and they just let Hendon Hooker play it out, So that's pretty cool.
I do like how, last week Jamar Chase and T Higgins combined for 49 points. This week they
Uh-huh.
combined for 48 points.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's impressive. The T Higgins and Jamar Chase combo is definitely something to keep an eye on.
yeah. But man, look over. We're talking about Aaron's team. Look at the high scorers.
Yes.
Bowers had a huge week.
Yeah.
But Chris
Boswell
24 points from a kicker.
is
That's
insane. Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, he kicked, what was it? He kicked 6 field goals to win that game. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then
Um,
good for Aaron for not starting his Colts this week. Although Downs would have been a good start.
yeah,
Richardson had a pretty good week,
he had a
but
good week. Yeah, it's no Jared Goff week, but
it's really hard to beat Goff.
nobody beats Goff. Nobody.
Nobody beats Goff.
Nobody beats Goff.
That's
Nobody
right.
beats Goff.
But yeah, I mean, really, I mean, Aaron's team is good, right? At the end of the day, here, Aaron has a good team.
So Jacob,
It's a pretty good team.
You've got a bit of a rivalry with Aaron. Does his team scare you at all?
That rivalry, that storyline ended year 4 of Party Room Film Festival.
Okay.
I think most of these teams intimidate me because I don't know how they work. And I think that would be, if we can just talk strategy, I think that is my main disadvantage in the league.
Yeah.
So.
I do think that, to quote Carmine Falcone from Batman Begins, people fear what they don't understand. So I think you're absolutely right about that.
Absolutely.
I think that you not understanding clearly shows with your record too. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next matchup, right? We're almost done here. We've got 10 minutes left.
Oh boy, let's move.
So we've got this one here. This is Sam. Now, this was a bit of a barn burner. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, this was crazy. I went to bed.
Appropriate.
I went to bed that night. I went to bed that night thinking I was safe because I was up by like 20 on Tanner. And then I wake up the next morning and see the score. I can't imagine that there have been too many instances where a fantasy team's won by 0.02 points.
Very impressive.
But Houston's defense and the Dallas kicker for Tanner made a really ferocious comeback. It just wasn't enough. One of my favorite things about this is the fact that Dallas, their kicker made like a 50-yard field goal, but Houston jumped off sides and Dallas decided to accept the penalty and take the points off the board instead of taking the points, which took points away from their kicker for fantasy. And then Dallas went out and failed on like a 4th down conversion or something later. So Tanner would have beat me. They just taken the points, but
if Dallas was just a better team.
Yeah, so just never, Tanner, that's kind of on you for trusting in Dallas. So can't really blame anybody but yourself.
You can't trust Dallas, and you can't beat Goff.
If you spell Dallas backwards, you get salad.
That's right.
Yep. With 2 L's, which is significantly less L's than the Cowboys have so far. And one more L than I gave Tanner this week. But Joe Burrow had a good week again.
Want to see my conch shell?
Yes, please. Let's see it. That's awesome.
That's pretty neat.
Burrow had a great week. Burrow's having an MVP like season. If the Bengals were better, he'd probably be a runner for MVP right now, I would say. But
I mean, he's currently the number 2 ranked fantasy football player, right? I mean, his last 3 weeks he's averaged like 31 points a game, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Chase Brown had another good week. Gibbs had a great week for me.
Yep.
Yeah, so pretty solid. I think my team's really been carried by some strong performances by some people. Namely Gibbs, Brown, and Burrow. So hopefully I can keep that up. But Tanner had a pretty good week too. Tua had a great week. Jerry Jeudy had a huge game. So I like and Houston defense with a great week. So I really like what I saw from Tanner this week. Is just Dallas let him down. When did they not do that?
That's classic Dallas. Am I right?
Hmm.
Now let's talk here about J.K. Dobbins for a minute here, Sam. Now, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken, you've traded him away. Is that correct?
that is correct. I traded him to light the egg on fire.
Yeah, and who did you
Why?
get in return?
I got Darnell Mooney in return.
Now, how do you feel about that trade with 1 week of hindsight?
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I've as good as Dobbins has been. He's been on my bench for most of the season.
Mm,
Uh, I've got a really solid core of running backs, and I had 5 good running backs, so I really needed to get rid of at least one.
sure.
Otherwise, I'd have 2 sitting on my bench. Now I've just got one on my bench.
Right.
Um,
Can
we'll see
would
how
you
it turns
like? Can
out.
I have a player? Can we do a trade?
Nah, trades ended actually. This is the last week for trades. Um, but yeah,
This this
I
whole
feel good
commissioner
about it
thing's
so
gone to your
far.
head, man.
Yeah, I know it's great. Um, yeah, I feel good about the trade. We'll see. I mean, time will tell if it works out.
Sure.
So,
Certainly. Yeah, that's fair.
but I think it's a trade that'll benefit both squads.
Fair enough. I know I looked at the trade and I definitely felt like in a vacuum, I felt like I liked J.K. Dobbins better than the player that you received. But looking at your roster, understanding you don't have a space for him, right? You can't play him.
And
And
I
if
needed another good receiver. I mean, Waddle's been a horrible third
correct.
receiver on my
Yeah.
team.
So that
So I
that
need to
does
fill
make
in
a
those
lot of
holes
sense
in the
looking at the
line.
trade after looking at your team a little bit more. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in terms of value, it's maybe a small decline, but in terms of like strengthening your team's holes, it definitely does that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So fair enough. Well, let's hit the last matchup here. This is yours truly. We've got less than 5 minutes to go. Um, I mean, this is a tough one, right? This is a very winnable week for me, right? 93 points from Levi. It's one of the weaker weeks he's had all season. But my
But
team
yeah,
is not very good.
he did it for DeArmas.
He did it for Darmus once again. Green Bay defense was fine. Young Ho was fine. Reed was
Gotta
fine.
love the young hose.
That's right. Travis Kelsey has really had a bit of a stinker year, right? I mean, he had that 3 week stretch where he was good. I guess a little bit more than that, but not. It wasn't the Travis Kelsey of old, you know.
Yeah. How do you feel? How do you feel about Nico Collins' 77-yard touchdown being called back?
See, here's the thing about that. I certainly would have appreciated a 77-yard touchdown from CJ Stroud to Nico Collins because that would have probably given me enough points to win, right? This is I'm down 17. That would be what is it? That'd be 13 points for Nico and like
It
probably
would have been 13 points for. It would have been about
7, 8.
for 9 points for
Yeah.
Stroud.
Right. So that alone would have won me the game. However, the on the flip side, I do have another league where I actually have some dollars riding on my fantasy football team. And in that league, I was playing against CJ Stroud.
Oh,
So I was a little bit conflicted, on one hand, I'm trying to take down the giant Levi, and on the other hand, I'm trying to win real world dollars. So it's
yeah,
it's tough to say.
yeah. Well, Levi's team had a tough week, but he still somehow managed to come out. The running backs didn't do it for DeArmas as much, but they still did.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
Hurts
that's what
didn't
I'm
have his
saying. It was a
so.
winnable week for sure.
Yeah, and now I've got him. We got a Goliath matchup coming in the next week of me and Levi facing each other.
Yeah, the 2 9 and 2s coming at it. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, let's just come on over and take a peek at the actual um at next week. Does that sound good?
yeah, yeah. So Jacob, just looking through, just what are your final thoughts on just anything that you see here?
Mm. Really, it's going to come down to who ices their leg more next week. You
Mhm.
know, it's all about the ice.
Which of these teams do you think ices their legs the least amount of time?
My
Fair enough.
Fair.
Fair enough. We got the
probably
iceless
mine.
legs. Now,
Well,
Sam,
see, it's all
one
financial.
thing.
It's all
uh,
financial. My institution doesn't have.
So, Sam, one thing you did make an announcement for all our fantasy footballers. that we did
Yep.
officially switch from a 6-team playoff to an 8-team playoff. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. We
Okay.
switched from a 4-team to an 8-team playoff.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I caught that this morning, so I expanded the playoffs just to make it a little bit more exciting.
Is that what that email was this morning?
Sure, probably. I guess there was an email.
Yeah, I
so
got
8 teams make the playoff. Playoffs start week 15, so we got like 3 weeks until then. But the top 8 teams will make it in. So as of now, it would be Josiah, Paul, Tanner, and Jacob that would not be in the playoffs. Big disappointment for Tanner, was our defending champ. So Jacob,
I have a genuine question real quick.
Yeah.
I have more points than Wizards of Light.
Yes. No, you don't.
No, this is
what's
you
PA
scored 900.
mean?
That's how
So
many points
PF
I scored against you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
So so far you're the only team that hasn't eclipsed 1,000 points total for the season.
Yeah.
That's not great, gang. It's not
Yeah.
great.
So Jacob, let's do a little bit of Mario Party here. We're coming in the home stretch. We got 4 weeks left in the regular season.
No, but hold on. 6th and 7th place, like the podcasters, they have more points than the team above them. Why are they?
Because the record, right? I have a better record than the prostates.
So like
Your
it's more about the
trumps
record than
everything.
actual points.
Your record is the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you could
We'll see if I knew that. If I knew that, man.
Yeah, you could win
describe it in hockey terms.
Here we go.
Okay. If I score